So it's been quite a long time. I think it's been probably either 2 or 3 years since I've made a new video of the garden, and it's been a really long time, and I just wanted to catch you guys all up on what we've been doing out here. And I really wish that I would have recorded this wisteria when it was all in full bloom, because it was just amazing. But this little spot right here was really cool. It's kind of our little secret hiding spot right there. So when you want to get away from it all, it's a nice little hideout. So this is the strawberry patch. These were all from runners that came off of the parent plants that we originally started with the asparagus back there. And they've just really taken over. But I like it. I figure, you know, if it wants to grow there, I'll let it. And as long as it's fruit bearing or medicinal or flowering, then it can totally belong in the garden. So I kind of welcome that. But it is kind of hard to walk through. I think I'm going to get some pavers through here and dig some of them up and give them away. More strawberries. And I did have some spinach in here and some other salad greens that I've already picked. They've kind of bolted, and so I've got some stuff here, some kale left over, but I replanted with some, you can kind of see them popping up right here. And these are, I got a whole bunch of beets, and then I also got some curly kale, because I like making my own kale chips in my dehydrator. So they're just now sprouting up. And this is another bed of strawberries off of the same parent plants. These were all just runners. I did not pinch any of the runners off at all during the entire living cycle of the strawberries, and they produced really, really good and made me all these plants. So I don't always follow proper gardening protocol, but because I like to experiment, and I think, you know, what might work for one person might not work for the next. You know, everybody's just like, everybody's body's different, everybody's garden zone is different, everybody's light source and nutrient density is different. So you just kind of got to go with the flow, experiment, find out what works, find out what doesn't work. You know, even year by year, it changes. You think you might find something that worked, and then you try to do it again, and suddenly it didn't work again. So it's just kind of one of those things. So this is my beet patch, but for some reason they didn't do that great until just recently. I think we've been just not getting enough sun. It's been a really cold and wet spring, and I don't know what that was all about. But anyways, sorry about that. Yeah, so everything's just grew really, really stunted. My germination rate wasn't very good. All this cilantro here that you see go into seed, this is all volunteer, because I had cilantro in here last year, and I just let them do their thing. I picked as much as I wanted, and I'm just going to let the rest go to seed, because I do want some more seeds. But yeah, these are finally doing good. These are some golden beets. I put in like a beet mix, a gourmet mix, but I find that these are my favorite, the ones with the red veins there. I can't remember the name of those. Let's see if yeah, it's just a gourmet blend, so I'm not actually quite sure. Oh wait, but they're the same as this. No? Cylindrical? Cylindrical? So, I'm pretty sure. Well, I'll try to confirm that later. More volunteers, all this stuff. None of this I planted. This just all came up on its own. It just blew in, or seeded. There's some more of that really good kale. That one's just, I find that to be the best tasting, to eat the leaves. Seems like the leaves of the other kale just aren't that tasty. These are really good. Alright, these are my carrots and my onions. And unfortunately a mole got up all underneath there and made a bunch of tunnels, and so we'll see how that affects their root growth. It's hard to say. I got one that's going to flower right there. And I've got this netting on here. Normally I wouldn't net stuff off, but my neighbor's peacock keeps on coming in and snacking every morning. And if I didn't have these nets here, I wouldn't really have a garden. So that's why the nets are on. And my germination rate wasn't very good for my carrots either. I don't know if I just planted too early, which I don't think I planted too early. But that's okay. I planted somewhere elsewhere, like right here. These are all carrots, little carrot sprouts. And I had radishes here earlier, and they all turned out pretty good. These I'm gonna let go to seed as well. Collect the seeds. And these are huge. Look at the size of that beet. I don't know if you can actually tell how big that is, but it's like the size of a tennis ball. And I was gonna save the seeds off of it, but unfortunately the peacock came and took every last seed and flower pod off of this that I was gonna harvest from. But so that was unfortunate. And I got some tomatoes here. These are Cherokee Purple. These are my favorite, along with the Black Krim. These are my favorite tomatoes of all time. And the Sun Golds are really good too. And my potato patch. I actually did some harvesting yesterday. Pulled up some Yukon Golds and some Norland Reds. These ones aren't really ready. I actually harvested a little bit sooner than I would have, because they started getting this like black speckles on them, and it had to have been some sort of disease or fungus or maybe blight or something like that. But it definitely, they were starting to turn yellow, kind of like this one over here, kind of turning yellow, some of the lower leaves. So I was like, you know what, instead of looking at, you know, ugly potato plants pretty much, I decided to pull them up, and now I get to eat the potatoes. So nothing lost. Man, it's just like a strawberry jungle in here. Look at that. I come out here every morning and I eat. This is my breakfast. Strawberries. All organically grown. They're everywhere. And I didn't plant any of these. The only strawberries that I planted in this entire garden was right over here. There's these, I don't know if you can see, maybe I can get up higher. So there's these 3 planters, and then there's the big long back planter, which is where our asparagus is. So there's a row that starts here, goes all along here, and then it kind of wraps around the other side like that. Those were the only strawberries that I had. And then they kind of tumbled down, and now you see all this. So they went that far, and I did take some of the babies and I put them over here behind me into these cinder blocks here, and they've spread out. And then same thing with this side too. This patch right here actually spread out into all this that you see. It's crazy. More here. And I'll do another video once all this purple thyme blooms, because it's really, really cool. And I think it's really funny how we have all this ground cover coming in. That's kind of my goal, is just to come out here and walk barefoot, not step on any splinters, you know, or anything that's not soft. Like, I just love this. You can like pet it. Really, really soft. Nice to walk on barefoot. I'm all about walking barefoot whenever I can. But I just found it kind of funny how it opened up for this little baby strawberry plant. Like it respected its space. It's like, okay, I'm taking enough space. You can live here if you want. I'll share. I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, I try to find the good in everything. So these are all my raspberries. And if you remember, last year, or not last year, but the last time I posted, a lot of things have changed. I had those raspberries over here in this section, so this is all brand new. And I just put some flowers. I wanted all flowers to be on this side. So I got cosmos, snapdragons, some violas, some pansies. I've got a dinner plate dahlia going right here. And then I got some clematis climbing up, and it's actually going to be my first ever clematis bloom. I've tried growing it in the past, it just never did good. But looks like there's 1, 2, 3 blooms, so that's cool. Got it for $5. I figured I couldn't go wrong. Some sunflowers, and I just love these. These are called raspberry parfait, and I think they're from the dianthus family, and they come back every year. They're not supposed to, but they come back every year. Take in here. So these are my peas. But what? I got these on purpose because they're supposed to have really pretty blooms, and they do. There's 2 different kinds here. Let's see if I can get in close. So these are kind of pink blooms. And on this side, and then on this side, they're supposed to be purple potted pole beans. Which, how cool is that? And then they have these really pretty flowers. And the bees love them. And this is kind of a disappointment, is what it is. You know, they're my broccoli and my cauliflower, but the broccoli isn't really broccoli, it's Romanesco, which is of the broccoli family, and the cauliflower is supposed to be a purple cauliflower. And I got some cabbages to the right behind these raspberries, and they just grew big huge leaves and no heads, except for this one here. But then it bolted, and I tasted it, and it's bitter, so I can't even eat that. So the only good that came out of this whole thing is these leaves are really good. So they're really good to eat raw, they're really good to stir fry. So if anything, this is almost like my collard patch, so it's not a total loss. Then I got my cabbages going, some sunflowers, and I got some cucumbers down here, but unfortunately I don't think they're getting enough light, so they'll probably won't do anything, but that's okay. I've got cucumbers planted other places too. So I got this owl to hopefully keep the peacock out of my yard, but it was unsuccessful. And then, you know, this is a question that I have for you guys. This wisteria, I don't know if it's defective or what, but like, you know how wisteria is supposed to have like the long flowers, the long tassely hanging flowers? Well, these always stay like these little, they're stubby and they never get long. It always seems like they should open more, but they don't. And I've had this thing here for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years, maybe even 6, but I think closer to 4 or 5. And I don't know, I'm not impressed. I thought it was going to be like cool, hangy, you know, normal wisteria. So if you guys know why this is happening, or maybe this is just unique to its variety, I'm not sure, although I've never seen it anywhere else. So kind of an oddity. Okay, get out of here. All right, so this is a cool little experiment. I always encourage experiments because you just never know what the outcome might be. So there was some raspberry canes that were coming up here, just volunteers, because over here used to be all raspberries, so naturally they put their roots up underneath and then it popped up here, and they were really long and flexible, and I just started to kind of bend them over the hoops that we have here, and then I got all these upward shoots, like suckers almost, side shoots I guess is what they are, came popping up, and I'll tell you, man, there is so many blossoms and raspberries that we're gonna have. But yeah, so I mean, this in comparison, which is huge, this whole corner is huge in comparison to these ones that I just prune like you're supposed to prune them. And I mean, we're still gonna get a decent amount of raspberries on each cane, but like nothing compares to that. So another lesson learned. These are my tiger lilies. Those are so cool. I'll get some videos of those too. I'm gonna try to video an entire season. Well, not really the winter time because there's not much to look at, but definitely all summer and fall. I'm gonna put a lot more videos up for you guys. There's so much that I want to share, and so many things that I've learned that I think people can really benefit from, and just different techniques that I've learned, and my experiences, and hopefully you guys can learn from some of my mistakes. And gardening is always funner when you're not making a bunch of mistakes. So okay, these are Brussels sprouts. And I have another little sad cucumber down here. It's not getting enough light. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna do anything. So, which is okay. If you've seen my other videos, you've probably seen harvesting dragon tongue beans. And this was one of the last dragon tongue bean seeds that I had, and I only got one plant that germinated. So, and it's not doing good. Something's eating it. It looks like it has some sort of nitrogen deficiency. But I did just fertilize yesterday, so hopefully that's taken care of. And I need to spray it with some neem oil to hopefully keep these chewing bugs off of it. But I mean, I think it's going to produce. It's got like little. You can see that it has definitely some shoots coming up. So I think I'll get some seeds to save. And then I also put together this guy to hopefully scare the peacock out of the yard. That didn't work either. So, but I tried. Okay, now this is pretty cool. These have got to be the biggest potatoes that I have ever grown in my entire life. I'm 5'4". I would say these are probably about 5 feet tall potatoes, and they're all getting to be in flower. Look at this, is a better one to show you. Look at those cool flowers. That means there's potatoes under the ground already. And these are my peas, and they were supposed to be bush peas. They were only supposed to get like 2.5 feet tall maybe, and so I didn't put a trellis up behind it, and they're just going nuts. There's all kinds of peas. They're long. Let me pick one for you and show you where you can see it. Look at these. God, I don't know if you can see that. They're really, really big. And that's like not even the biggest one. Let me get this other one. I mean, that's pretty good size. And you know what I think it's from being next to this compost bin. we're getting all the nutrients from that compost, and that compost pile has been there for a really long time, so it just has a lot of nutrients all built up in there. Yeah, it's doing really good. Somebody gave me these asparagus. I finally put them in a sunny spot. I'll plant them eventually. These onions were leftover onions from last year, because I purposely wanted to let them go to seed. I just love the blossoms. They look like white orbs. So I can't wait. And then I used to have potatoes in that pot. I thought I got them all out, but apparently I didn't. And these are my volunteer mullein. It's a really good medicinal plant. This is a volunteer foxglove. I'll do another video just on my volunteers. More peas. More volunteer cilantro. I've used up, I just made salsa the other day and used up a bunch of it, so it looks pretty ratty right now. It's a volunteer tomato that I found in the compost bin, so it'll be a surprise to see what it actually is. And I planted a grapevine that's going to grow up this trellis. I actually had garlic all planted in here too, but I tell you, man, I cannot grow garlic. I don't know what it is. I've tried growing garlic probably 3 different times and nothing. I don't know, it's just not even doing good. They just pulling right out. So I think I need to plant them in the fall like you're supposed to. Sure is pretty out. It is the 16th day of June 2018. I'll do another video too. I put in my own fruit orchard that I'm really excited about. I'll show you that too. We also put it, my husband and I, this arbor. Wade through the strawberries. So this is a flame seedless grape, and it's a table grape, so it's supposed to be really good and sweet. One thing I'll warn you about, learn from my mistake here, number one, when I brought it home, it was a hot day. It was probably, I don't know, close to 80, and I had picked it up from the store. And on the way home, I decided to stop in the local nursery, and I was only in there for about 10 minutes because I was looking for fig trees specifically, and they didn't have any, so I just left. And I came back into my car, drove 4 miles home, and when I got home, I took this out of the back seat, and I was so disappointed because all the new growth, all the tendrils, like this entire section equivalent of, was all just wilted and just dead. I mean, this new shoots and stuff, there was no saving it. I had to actually cut it off, so that was kind of a bummer. So yeah, don't leave your plants in a hot car, even for 10 minutes, even in the Pacific Northwest. There's my asparagus bed. Sunflower. This is what the asparagus looks like after you kind of leave some stalks to grow up to do their thing. They turn into these big ferns. Got some volunteer lemon balm in the back by the fence, another tomato, some volunteer nasturtiums. These were my pepper plants, but now they're potatoes because I've never been able to eradicate potatoes out of these three bins here. I first planted potatoes in them when I built them, and I've had potatoes in them ever since, and I've never planted them again. So they were supposed to be my pepper spots, and they're not doing very good. So I'm kind of glad the potatoes are there, because at least I know the potatoes will be good, because they're fingerling potatoes and I love those. My asparagus, some of it's doing good. As you can see how big that is. If you gauge on thickness, I guess it's doing stellar. I actually prefer the smaller ones. This particular corner, for some reason, makes these really big asparagus. Look, there's another one coming out. I mean, it's just got a huge diameter. You can see the diameter of that one that I cut. I think I want a strawberry. And there's some more. Not near as big, but this is the way I like it. I like to just, snap it right off where it gets tender and just eat it. And it's dripping with water. Okay, so I got another grape on this side of the trellis. And this one, Glenora. It's called the Glenora. Sorry, I'm not very good at using this camera yet. And that's a table grape as well. I think it'll be pretty good. Strawberries all the way around it. A whole bunch of thyme. These are my blueberry bushes, and these are just out of control every single year, and I love it. I love blueberries. Can never get too many. Several different varieties. Hundreds, thousands. I mean, look at those clusters. It's being mulched with the living mulch. We got some oregano there. Decided to pop up by itself. Boxwood's doing really good. Same thing with this tripping over strawberries here. I think this is it's a blue flowering, I think it's an azalea actually. Really a cool plant. And this is a sedum. And it puts out really cool kind of mauve colored, pinkish, flat blooms, really dense flat blooms. Each one of these turns into that, and then the bees are just, man, all over it, just like crazy. This is a new tree that we planted. It was living in a pot and started rooting into the ground. It had been in this pot for, oh man, I don't know, probably like 15, 16 years. And completely neglected, just thrown off to the wayside. The wine barrel pot that it was in actually ended up rotting out. It was there for so long. It was practically dying. We never watered it. It never got hardly any sun. And I'm like, you know what? I need to save this thing. It's a survivor. So I gave it a really good spot in the garden, and it's getting all this new growth. This is all new growth. Like, I can't remember the last time I seen new growth on this tree. And you can see how short this new growth is from last year, and how long this new growth is from this year. Very cool. Plants can sense the love. And this, I need to trim again, but it's kind of a heart-shaped bush. I shaped it in to look like a heart from any direction. So I'll kind of go around that. It kind of looks like a heart. I really need to redo it. You can kind of get the idea though, right? All right. So I have some, so this is another lesson learned. I've got some Kennebec potatoes, which if you've never had them, they're really super good. You can use them for baking, for making fries, for hash. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff with them. They're super good. And so when I seen these, I was like, oh, I'm going to plant these for sure. But once again, here's another poor cucumber that is just struggling for its spot in life. It got crowded out. It barely gets any sun, but it's still getting new growth. So I'm hoping that it'll still do something. It just needs to get up here, you know, and then it'll get enough sun to keep it going. So, and then we got sunflowers. Super excited about sunflowers. I did some that were the mammoth gray stripe. So they get really, really big. And then I did some other ones that are shorter, kind of reddish type sunflowers. And then I've also got some pole beans, some purple pole beans coming up this A-frame. I won't show you the greenhouse, it's a complete mess. More like a tool shed. But this A-frame that we made, I want it to be covered in beans is the idea, but only 2 beans took, and I was expecting the cucumbers to take 2, and that would fill in the gaps, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. But I just recently also planted some beans other places too, so if we don't get beans on the trellis, we'll still get beans other places. Which is another thing I've learned, is plant more than what you think you're gonna need, because if you don't lose something to the elements, you're going to lose it to disease. If you don't lose it to the disease, you're going to lose it to insects. If you don't lose it from the insects, you're going to lose it from, you know, anything else. Peacocks. So I find that if I put some beans and peas here and some beans and peas there, if I lose the beans and peas here, at least I'll still have beans and peas there. So it's actually worked out pretty good. These are my other blueberry bushes. They're struggling. I don't know. They just barely. Well, this particular variety. Oh yeah. Before I go into that, I gotta show you this. Have you ever seen a variegated strawberry plant? I've never. And they're almost kind of deformed where they're white, so I'm not sure if it's a true variegation or if it's just some weird, like, I don't know, disease or something. But like the whole plant is variegated, and I just think that's really cool. And it's not the only one. There's actually this one here too. So it'd be really cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save what comes off of the runners, and I'm going to see if they're variegated too, and if they are, maybe I can propagate a new variety. Oh wait, look, check it out. So this is a runner off of the parent, and it is variegated. How cool is that? So this could be my own backyard mix. Unique. There's more over here too. That's pretty cool. Oh, yeah, and another one, actually. I should taste the strawberry off of this one and see if they're any different than the regular strawberries, but I'm not seeing anyone ready yet. Keep it posted. But yeah, so this Tofat variety just now started to pick up and look like it's starting to do something. It just forever was just not doing good and just staying the same size, and we barely got any fruit on it. It was just looking sad. It wasn't green and lush, you know, not like those. Those are stellar. But these were like weakling. And but what I did, I think I found something that worked to bring them back. And we make French press coffee every morning, and I've had a couple of plastic milk jugs that we've been pouring the grounds into. Sorry, I just like inhaled strawberry juice. Anyways, we pour the grounds into a milk jug, and then we fill the milk jug up with water, and then I come out here and I'll water my blueberry bushes with it. And this is something that I just started to do. Well, I only did it once, and I did it like 4 days ago. And that looks like a good one. Oh yeah. Ooh, did you hear that? I love it when that happens. That's when you know it's right, man, when it snaps off the vine like that. And usually those ones are always sweet. And another thing that I've really noticed is, see how this strawberry has like an elongated neck on it? You know, it's not this is kind of up from the shoulders. Those ones are usually always the sweetest. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is about the shape, but you can tell. And a lot of my deformed looking berries are actually some of the better tasting ones. It's weird, so I gladly pick the deformed ones. So back to the blueberries. Yeah, so I've been doing that, and they seem to be making a difference. I mean, these leaves were never this long. They were always just kind of short and stumpy. So this has gotten, and this one has gotten some new growth. And they've also greened up considerably. Oh yeah, really good, really good. Sweet, and it's also juicy too. I don't know how close I can get. I'm not sure, you know, this, we've had this camcorder for like 2 years, and this is really the first that I've used of it, so. Okay. Well, before I forget, this is my wisteria, and this is a smoke bush. So I'll do another video when that is in bloom. More volunteer. Strawberries. These are raspberries that I transplanted. I had them in a pot. I had extra when I took all the raspberries out of that one space and transplanted them into the raised bed. These, I had extra, so I planted these. And in here I have purple Peruvian potatoes. Well, I'll say that 3 times fast. And they're just doing really good. Look at the size of some of these potato leaves. I mean, they're just really good. And same thing with the nasturtium. I mean, have you ever seen a nasturtium that big? Usually they're like this or like this. And they're actually really good to eat. They're kind of peppery. In fact, I think I want one. But, I mean, wow. Ooh, whew, wow, that was really peppery. And then I have a birdhouse gourd in here, the only one that made it, and I really, really want it to make it. I want to paint on some birdhouse gourds this year. So I'm really hope this thing. Ugh, that's what you call it. Oh man, a spit bug. Yep, I got a couple of different tomatoes here. Chocolate cherry. And then I got orange strawberry. So they're doing pretty good. More volunteer oregano, catnip, this is the cat's pot. He loves that. Okay, we got zucchinis, which aren't really doing that good. I don't know why. But like this zucchini, I don't think this is even gonna make it. It's probably gonna fall off. But these other ones look good. I really like the yellow ones. And these ones are my bush baby zucchinis. And these are really good, actually. And they look to be pretty prolific. There's a lot of little babies in here. And I like them when they're small. So I figured the bush baby would be perfect. This one's a little bit more green than the other one. So, yeah. And these are more raspberries. This one seems to be doing pretty good. Looks like, just now noticed this, but looks like there's some volunteer mint in here. I just love making mojitos out of this mint. And then I got chocolate mint right here. There is a lady, I spent so much money at her nursery getting fruit trees and stuff that she decided to give me some mint from her garden just as a thanks. Chocolate mint, really good. I mean, it actually smells like chocolate mint. And this is called hardy fuchsia, and the hummingbirds just love these, and they're just now starting to open. They're really pretty. They got like, let's see if I can get in there, yellow, got some yellow, really healthy. I never do anything to these all last year. This whole area wasn't irrigated, and I never really watered it, never fertilized it, and it just seems to always do really good. Always comes back. I was looking for a place to hang my hose, and whipped this thing together. I just had some spare wood here, and I was like, what can I use as a hook to hook my hose onto? And I just happened to have this horseshoe, and I used to have horses, so that's just right up my alley. And so this is another really cool experiment. This is one of our newer areas in the garden, and before it was just blackberries. It was overgrown with everything invasive that you can imagine. The last time it looked good was literally like 16 years ago, and it just was left to go back to nature for a really long time. And we had this dead space basically, ended up with all these blackberry brambles, and trimmings and things like that. I didn't really want to like put it in the wheelbarrow and haul it across the yard and dump it. So I'm like, well, let's just make a hugel mound out of it. And that's what we did. We put the blackberry branches at the very bottom. We had some sticks and twigs that we put on top of that. And then we had just native soil from me planting my fruit trees. I had extra native soil. And we put that on top, and then I emptied out one of my compost bins and put the compost on top of that, and then put my lawn clippings all on top of that. And I mean, as you can tell, I think it's working really good, because that's my rhubarb, and I'll tell you, it was about the size of a dinner plate when I planted it there, and this was about maybe 4 weeks ago. I mean, look at the size of this leaf. I mean, I don't even know if they're supposed to get this big, but it's like an elephant ear. It's just humongous. Very impressive. Very impressive. And even the zucchinis are doing really good. They're green. They look nothing like the potted ones on my patio. They're just awesome. And it looks like they even have some shoots coming up, and these ones are cool. These ones are actually, I'm not quite sure what kind these are. I'm usually pretty good about putting tags and stuff, but I don't see a tag. Oh wait, it just says zucchini, so I'm not sure. But I have another zucchini in there that is a really cool striped variety. But yeah, I mean, I always thought hugel mounds are kind of ugly, to be honest. You know, there were sticks and twigs always sticking out of them, and I don't know, they just always looked kind of weird. I was always kind of more into conventional, like raised beds and row gardens and things like that. But I don't know, I kind of warmed up to the idea after I just decided to do it on a whim one day. And believe it or not, so most of these are volunteers from the compost that I put in there, because the compost bin that I used was the compost that I had made over winter, so it didn't get hot enough to destroy any kind of weed seeds or anything like that. So when I put the compost on this hugel mound, a lot of things sprouted up, and I would imagine this was an entire cherry tomato, and because there's probably like 10 different tomatoes that must have grew from seed right out of the cherry tomato. But you know what, it's an experiment. I'm just gonna keep it like that. I'm not gonna thin it. I'm just really kind of curious to see what it's gonna do. That is a volunteer potato. And this is I think this is a pumpkin. I'm pretty sure that is a pumpkin. I've got some mint in here. That's volunteer mint. So I've got to make a decision. I think I need to take that out because it'll just run rampant. Let's see if I can get around this rhubarb. Okay, that is another volunteer. I want to say they're Dill's Atlantic, giant Atlantic pumpkin. It's like the record holder. I'm pretty sure that's what these volunteers are. And then we got some nasturtium. right there, so that's gonna be really cool. They're gonna be trailing all over the place with those pretty flowers. And then here's another volunteer, some sort of pumpkin, a couple of them actually. And then there's all kinds of other volunteers in here too. I got another tomato, which I doubt is gonna get enough light. But I'm gonna leave it there anyway, why not, right? Another tomato, some more mint, another tomato. This is a really good variety. It's like kind of striped. I think it's what the other one was that I didn't have a name to it. These are really, really good. They're super nutty and they're sweet. There's another shot. Let's see if I can get it. It's kind of a blind shot, but maybe it's in the screen there. More volunteer tomatoes. Rhubarb. Get the camera in here just so you can see the magnitude of the amount of stalks that I have in here. I mean, I've got to do something with all this rhubarb. What am I going to do? I mean, rhubarb jelly. Strawberry rhubarb pie, I suppose I could do. I've got so many strawberries. But yeah, so something's eating the leaves. I don't know what. But at least it's just here and there. It's not, they're not getting totally devastated, so that's good. This is my other rhubarb. This one's not nearly as big. It also is a different variety, so that might have something to do with it. It's got really deep red stalks on it. Really pretty. More strawberries, go figure. More mint back there behind it. So that's my hugel mound. Pretty successful so far. I'll be curious to see how good those pumpkins do. I mean, they look nitrogen deficient to me. I think I need to put some Epsom salts on there. Yeah, and then these are wild thimbleberries, and you know, like I said, if volunteers are either fruiting, you know, if they give me fruit, or if they give me flowers, or if they're medicinal in any way, then I keep them because I think they add value. And I got something really cool that I couldn't resist buying. And this is a pink popcorn blueberry, or rather a pink berry. And it's doing pretty good. I picked this up at a nursery. It's got some good new growth by probably about, I don't know, maybe 6 inches in some spots since I bought it. And so I'm really excited to get pink blueberries. I never even knew they existed, and supposedly they're pretty good too. So this thing I just put in the ground, and it's really not doing good at all, which is a shame because it's a pineapple ground cherry, and I really wanted to taste the pineapple ground cherry. I've had the regular ones, which are really, really good, but something's eating it. And I do have a problem with flea beetles. They get on my potatoes, they get on my tomatoes. Now they're on the ground cherries, but it almost looks like it's gotten some sort of like scald to it as well. But we have had some hot weather, and I just planted it, so maybe it's under some stress. But I just hate seeing holes in my plants. But I think it'll make it. At least it's green. That is a wild blackberry. It's called a fern leaf blackberry, I do believe. Which is different than the traditional wild blackberries that we have here, and I haven't decided if I'm going to keep it or not. I think I might just let it grow, and I'll run the canes maybe up over this fence, and of course the flowers and everything will come next year with the fruit. But just to fill in the space, I love greenery. More thimbleberries. These are all thimbleberries as well. And then I did plant some jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. They're just kind of stunted. They're not really doing a whole lot. It doesn't get full sun over here. And this is more hugel bed. Well, not entirely. It's mainly, there's no sticks and stuff in there or logs, but what we did, I wish I would have recorded it. When I cut all the holes out of the lawn to put my my trees in, we had all this grass left over, and I turned it all upside down and filled in this whole spot because it was nothing but just really bad invasive stuff. And I turned it upside down, put some native dirt on top of it, and put all these grass clippings on top of that, and it's really snuffed it out. And you know, it's just gonna it worked out really, really good. It was a really good solution to a really bad problem. So This is more volunteer oregano. I have this lilac that I'm trying to rejuvenate. It was kind of neglected. This was always the neglected area of the garden for years. And I pruned this back pretty hard, and I just have all this new growth now. I'm just so happy. It's just exploding, and I'm gonna have a lot of blooms next year, I think. And these are my kiwis. Got hardy kiwi, and then I also have fuzzy kiwi, and male and female. I found out that the hardy male kiwi can also pollinate the female fuzzy kiwi. Or it might be the other way around, but either way, they can cross-pollinate. So I thought that was really cool. We're gonna have kiwis. And then I still want to do something with this area here. I really don't like all this clover and this grass, and it's all mixed in with pea gravel, and it's just, I just really weed whack it to keep it kind of maintained, but it's not ideal, and I do want to create still in this area to make it even better. But it does take time, it takes money, it takes hard work, so I try to pace myself. Gives me something to look forward to. The garden is never done, I've discovered. This is our little chill out spot. The rest of the arbor. The arbor cost us about $100. We got all our supplies from Home Depot. And I got some azaleas in the back. These are blue flowering azaleas, are really cool. And then I just love dianthus. They smell so good and they look so pretty. Got some hens and chicks next to it. So this area has never looked good. As long as I've been in this gardening, which has probably been 16, 17 years now, it's always been a mess of blackberries, grass, morning glory, just everything invasive, horrible soil. Never ever landscaped or given any attention. There was just, the rest of the garden was just too much to take care of as it was, and so this was always the last neglected spot. And this year we actually had the time and energy to put into it, and money. And so I'll show you what we've done here. So this is a three-way apple tree, which has done really good. It's putting on a lot of new growth from here, right here, all the way to the top. I mean, that's probably about, I don't know, it's definitely over a foot. I wouldn't say it's a foot and a half, but it's over a foot. And so let's see what we have here, because I forgot. Okay, so Spartan apple, Chehalis, and Honeycrisp, which I know Honeycrisp is good. I don't know about the other ones. I've never had them. If you have, let me know what they're like. And I get notifications whenever I get comments on my videos, so I always read them and always try to respond. I'm gonna really try to do something with this YouTube channel. I've neglected it in the past, and you know, there's just so much to share. I want to rub shoulders with other gardeners, and I think that the YouTube platform is a really good way to do that. So you'll be seeing way more videos from me. And also, I see a lot of people suggesting that the viewers make suggestions on what kind of videos that they want to see. So I'm definitely open to that too. If you want to see me do certain videos, let me know. Or if you want me to do, you know, how to grow guides on certain plants, yeah, let me know. If I can do it, I will. More hens and chicks. I just kind of pop them everywhere, and they expand and fill in the gaps. More oregano that I didn't plant. More oregano that I didn't plant. This is called a bear paw, I do believe. It sends up a great big tall spiky thing that has flowers all the way around it. And I didn't actually plant that there. Somebody else did when they used to live here years ago. And oops. And it's finally actually doing good. So it looks like my battery is ready to die. I'm gonna have to kind of go through this pretty quick. So these are the other kiwis, and they're already at the top. When I planted them, they were about this tall, and they've grown all that in about maybe, I don't even know if it's been 6 weeks, maybe 5 weeks. Okay. Little piece of driftwood that I found. I got some purple coneflowers here. That is iris. And then I've got a whole bunch of beets. And I used the method, if you go on YouTube and look for Charles Dowding, he has got the coolest gardening methods out of a lot of people that I've seen. And he plants a whole bunch of beets in a cell, like 4 or 5 beets in one cell, and then he'll plant it in the ground, and as they get big, they expand and they just push each other away from each other, and they don't like suffer from any kind of nutrient deficiency since they're so close together or anything like that. It's pretty cool. Then I got some basil. So anyways, this is my experiment to see if it works for me. And then that cucumber might actually make it, and that cucumber might actually make it. This is a purple leaf grape. It does produce fruit, but it's more so for the foliage. It's got really pretty fall foliage. We got some purple pole beans going up. And then I got a row of carrots. And I planted some Armenian cucumbers, and it looks like they're coming up. I'm super excited about that. I've never had Armenian cucumbers before. If you've had them, let me know what they're like. They're supposed to be more like a melon. So I can't wait to taste it because I'm a huge fan of melons. And I got another one popping up right there. A couple more right here. So yeah, super excited. Another one popping up. I think that's called an arborvitae, and I want it to get really big to kind of just fill in this space. I'm trying to provide some privacy between me and my neighbor, so that's why I put these trellises here, and I'm hoping to get a bunch of beans to cover that. And the arborvitaes, they get pretty big. I'll show you the ones over by the chicken coop. They're a really good size. And then we got more thimbleberries. And I got some ground cover here that came tumbling out of my compost bin. You know, it was a plant that I must have bought when I first started this garden years and years ago, and it somehow ended up in the compost bin, and it's crawling out of it, which is so cool. I think I'm just going to keep it there, and adds interest, adds color. More irises. And this is my lemon balm. I really need to trim it. I transplanted that. Pretty much just stuck it in the ground on a hot day, and I'm surprised it even survived. And then my hostas. These are variegated hostas. And this is another pink berry. A pink blueberry bush, that is. And it's called Pink Lemonade. If you guys have ever had pink blueberries, let me know what they taste like. I'm just really excited to get some. It looks like there's a couple. I might get a couple, so we'll see. Oh yeah, there's more than just a couple, but just a nibble. And I've got some squash plants here. They don't get a whole lot of sun, so I'm not quite sure how good they'll do, but I'm really hoping they'll do something. This one's called Yukiki curry. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, but pretty red squash. And more hostas. Here's another squash. It's got all kinds of blooms all over on it. So we're gonna definitely have a whole lot of squash on this. And this one is called, I've seen it called delicata before, but this one looks like it's just delica? Delica? Delicia? I have no idea. And we've got some more volunteer nasturtium. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to leave that one or take it out. I think that one's probably going to be in the way. But that one I'll definitely leave. Another hosta, and then I've got some pole beans, purple pole beans, and some other different variety beans in here. And then I also have a birdhouse gourd, another volunteer nasturtium, and another sunflower. Then I got some raspberries here, which are doing really, really good. So cool. You know, somebody gave me these raspberries and I had them in a pot, the same pot that they gave them to me in, and for a couple years it sat unwatered, no sun, and this year I finally had a spot for them, and you can see they're doing really, really good. I'm gonna have some raspberries. I think these are red raspberries, although I like the golden ones, are my favorite. And more nasturtium. Volunteer oregano. I have tons of that stuff around here. It's everywhere. Alright guys, that's pretty much it. Got some native blackberries, and that's the last of the blackberry bush. I did the blackberry patch. I did leave some of them because I do really enjoy blackberries. But you can imagine that this entire corner was all of that. So looks a lot better. Alright guys, well that's my first full garden tour video. I'm going to be laying down some fresh bark. I'll do another video after that to show you the improvements. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and all that good stuff. And look forward to a lot more videos with you guys. Alright, take care. Get out in the garden today. Bye-bye.